Broadcasting worldwide from an undisclosed location, it's Uncle Boogie's Edge. College football's premier prognosticators giving up the lowdown and laying it all on the line. Now, here's Uncle Boogie.
How about that? It is. This is Uncle Boogie's Edge. First week one of the college football season for 2008, and it ought to be a great one. You know, last year, underdogs really stole the show, starting the very first week of the year when Appalachian State defeated the University of Michigan, and it just kept right on going. So the dogs were big last year. Don't know that the dogs are going to be quite so good this year, but they're still going to be a factor, and they're going to be a factor in some of these games that we're going to give you later on. The season this year starts on Thursday night, then it goes every night right on through Monday night. So Monday night won't be a pro game this week. It'll be a college game, and I'll try to give you a pick for each one of the nights that we're playing, plus a bonus pick toward the end of the show. We'll have a bonus opportunity. Now, I'm not recommending that you bet on anything, but old Uncle Boogie picks them pretty good. So if you want to pay attention, please do. All right, let's go. First game of the season, Thursday night, Wake Forest at Baylor. Now, 10 years ago, who would have cared? Both of these teams stunk. Now only one of them stinks. The stinker is the home team, Baylor. Wake Forest got 15 returning lettermen. They got a head coach, Jim Grove, who refuses to go other places. He's loyal to that program. He loves that football team. And they got a long-range field goal kicker who's good from over 50 yards more than any other kicker in the nation. How are you going to pick against Wake Forest in this game? In the first game of the season, we're going to pick Uncle Boogie's Edge goes to Wake Forest. That's Thursday night. Friday night, August the 29th, it'll be Temple at Army. Now, last year, Army beat the Temple in Philadelphia. This year, Temple's going to Army. Temple's got 22 starters back, but I don't know if a team like that, do you really care if you got 22 starters back or not? The attitude's really good at Army this year. They're going to be running the wishbone. It's going to make them a better football team. And I think Army at home getting 7 points looks pretty doggone good to me. How can you pick against a team that they call the Black Knights of the Hudson? I can't pick against them. Later on this year, we're going to give you a military trifecta. This week, just one military team. It's Army. We're going to take the 7 points and say Army is going to beat Temple straight up. Even though they're getting 7 points, I think they're going to win this game straight up. Let's go to Saturday, August 30th. This is Hawaii at Florida. Well, now, last year, Hawaii was one of the big teams in college football. They were undefeated all season long. They went to a BCS bowl game. Everybody thought they had something. But this year, Colt Brennan's gone. He had 4 stud receivers. They're all gone, too. And their head coach, June Jones, well, he packed up and he headed to, SMU? He's living in Fort Worth now. So when Hawaii shows up in Gainesville this weekend, they ain't got much carrying. All they're doing is bringing their flowery shirts. They don't have much football player there. Now, on the other hand, Florida's had a lot of injuries during this fall practice session or summer practice session. And the other day, Percy Harvin got hurt and may not even play. If I was Florida, I wouldn't play him either. But Tim Tebow ought to be enough. Don't you think? Yeah, Tim Tebow ought to be enough. Tebow's enough to get Florida right on through this game. It's a bunch of points, 33.5 points. But I believe Florida, even though they're not going to show everything because they got Miami coming up the next week, I believe Florida's going to cover that 33.5 points. So Uncle Boogie's Edge goes to Florida. We'll be back with more right after this. Welcome back to Uncle Boogie's Edge. We're rocking and rolling and going hard. Let's get to the Sunday game now in college football. Kentucky at Louisville. This has been a pretty good series over the last few years. Louisville had a great team. Of course, they lost their real fine quarterback, Brom. Cragthorpe's a good coach over there, but not quite the same without Petrino there. Last year, Louisville was just a 6-6 team. They don't have much coming back from that. Of course, the brand new quarterback is going to make a big difference. Kentucky, on the other hand, looks like they've got SEC talent now. They've won 2 bowl games in a row. They've got a pretty good chance of being a great defense this year. Their running game's going to be solid. They're not going to have much of a passing game, but they're going to go to Louisville, and they're going to get points. And I'll tell you what, Louisville may not be that strong this year. Uncle Boogie's Edge goes to Kentucky. Let's take the 7 points and move right on through there and see what's happening with those Wildcats. Now on to Monday night. It's Tennessee at UCLA. The Vols played for the SEC championship last year. Everybody knows University of Georgia should have been in that game, but it wasn't them. It was Tennessee. They got beat by LSU, but Tennessee's still going to be a pretty good team this year. Maybe they're the spoiler in the SEC. Maybe they're better than a spoiler in the SEC. Anyway, the Great Pumpkin's taking this bunch out to Tinseltown, and he's hoping to do some serious damage on UCLA. UCLA has been just an average, marginal program for a number of years now. This year, though, they've got Rick Neuheisel in, one of their former quarterbacks. He's back as a head football coach, and he brought back a familiar name as his offensive coordinator, Norm Chow. Norm Chow was offensive coordinator at USC a couple years ago, spent a couple years in the NFL. Now he's back out in L.A. But I'll tell you what, UCLA doesn't have much. They're playing a third-string quarterback. They got an offensive line that can't block. They're going to have a tough time early on in this season. Meanwhile, Tennessee, man, that old Great Pumpkin. Tell you what, Norm Chow. Chow, what kind of name is that? He's playing against a Great Pumpkin. If you see the guy coming with a knife and fork, Norm Chow better keep on walking because he might be trying to catch him up, might be carve a little piece off. And during the game on Monday night, he may carve a piece off anyway. Let's say Uncle Boogie's edge. It's going to be Tennessee. They're just too good. They're going to win. That 7 points is not a problem. Well, that's going to do it for week one. Uncle Boogie gave you a couple of dogs and 4 favorites. It looks pretty good to me. I hope it looks good to you and hope you got some great information out of it. I do have one more thing. I've got a special East Coast, West Coast. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 not bads lock of the week. You're going to want to see this one. Log on to UncleBoogie'sEdge.com. That's UncleBoogie'sEdge.com, and you'll see what I'm talking about. This one is guaranteed. Trust me, guaranteed. Well, that's it from here. Uncle Boogie's glad to have you with me this week. We'll see you again next week with Uncle Boogie's Edge.